Hello, I'm Shailendra, and you're watching SAP Analytics Cloud Leadership Series. Today, in the first episode of the series, we have a very special guest, Kate Wright. Kate is the head of Augmented BI for SAP and is responsible for the entire cloud and on-premise BI and advanced analytics portfolio, including product management. Kate is a highly experienced product and development exec with over 14 years of experience at SAP and business objects. So we are up for a very interesting conversation. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome Kate Wright, Vice President, Head of Augmented BI, SAP HANA and Analytics. Hi,
Hey,
Kate.
Shailendra. Hello, lovely to be here.
Welcome to the SSC Leadership Series. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm awesome. I'm super excited. This is my very first time going live on social, so I'm looking forward to it. Hoping it's really interactive.
Good stuff. Okay, so let's start from the start. Tell us about yourself. Where are you from? Your career journey, and a fun fact about yourself.
Ooh, okay. I must admit I'm a nerd. So I started off in development. I've actually been with analytics almost my entire career. I started off with Crystal Reports, being a developer for 5 or 6 years, and then I moved into different roles because I found that for myself, I really liked working with people, and so I went into management and product management. And I started working in the cloud space in 2007. So I'm really passionate about both cloud and analytics, which is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing today. And let's see, I'm Canadian based and born in Australia, but have spent most of my life on the west coast of Canada in the what feels like the rainiest part of the world most days. So let me see, a fun fact about me is that despite 15 years at Business Objects at SAP, I actually took about 4 months off. I took a leave of absence in 2010. And the reason for that is I love making things that are valuable. And it's one of the reasons I make products. But I found that in my spare time, I was cooking all the time and I really wanted to learn more. So I took 4 months off and I got a culinary degree. So I don't do a lot of cooking anymore, but I get to travel a lot. So I usually I eat wherever I go a lot instead these days. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just say that to people. Everyone who's watching, please feel free to like, comment, and share this with the audience, with your network. And also, please feel free to ask questions. And that is most important. We want to get questions from the audience. And we've hit it, Kate. We already have around about 16 viewers at the moment.
Awesome.
Live. Okay.
Very cool. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome, everyone. So let's start. What is Augmented BI all about? So we need to talk about that first. So I'll put you on the spot and ask you about Augmented BI.
Absolutely, you really should. It's one of the first questions I get asked when I give people my job title. And admittedly, when I talk to my own team, I quite often start with that just to make sure we're all on a level playing field. The thing about what makes augmented analytics or augmented BI is really about making things more automatic, bringing insights to people in ways that we historically haven't been able to. The technology lets us do things, and that technology could be, this processing power we now have. It could be, leveraging statistics, predictive analytics, deep learning, all to bring insights to users in more automatic ways. So they either don't have to do their work themselves because it's augmented or accelerated or automated, or that they would not have been able to do because, we're really good at humans at processing things, but there's only so much capacity we have. And why not let the computers do the things they're good at and let us do the things we're good at?
Perfect. So what is SAP doing? What is SAP's approach towards Augmented BI? Well, we've explained what Augmented BI is, and why should customers or our clients come to SAP? Why SAP?
Yeah, it's a great question. I hope we get those same kind of questions from our group here. So if augmented BI is automating things, it not only automates, but it lets us look forward, right? So historically, business intelligence has always been about what's going on, maybe manually digging into why, And with Augmented, now we can help you find out why very quickly, and we can help you figure out what's going to happen next, because that's what the technology lets us do. At SAP, we're doing a few things a little bit differently. The first one is we're making sure we're bringing all of that analytic capability onto the same platform. So the workflows that people have been doing for years don't go away. Reporting is still there, monitoring, dashboarding, those are expected. And we're doing those together with these same augmented workflows, so that we can bring conversational techniques. We can let just anyone ask a question, but when they do that in the same meeting as people who are bringing in reports and dashboards, they're talking the same language because it's in the same place. Mm-hmm. Another one of the things that we're doing as SAP, of course, is we're the guys who know all about enterprise. We know about security. We know about scale. And so, of course, we are going to make sure we nail that. So we will make sure that the data can stay where it is. Security is respected. The applications where people are administering who gets to see what, we can ask the hard questions and give you automated insights without having to re-administrate or worry about who's going to see what kind of information.
Sure.
And then maybe lastly, because we are so integrated at SAP with ERP, and that's with all of our application suite, we are making sure the augmented analytics is available to people who are using those tools in slim ways that allows them, if a user is just working on an HR workflow and HR approval, they might not even need to know they're working with augmented analytics, but we can give them extra value. We can give them insights on what's happening with their employees automatically, and we can let them ask, additional questions and let the technology speak for itself. And so SAP is not only getting closer to where the users are actually working, but it lets us also make sure we really understand and can give the most valuable insights, and also take action right where it needs to happen.
That also reminds me, isn't that also bringing the machine learning component into it to make it more smart? So the insights that get through, you don't have to actually go and ask. Because in the good olden days, when you saw a report, you actually then had a question in mind, and then you had to go to someone to ask that question, why did that happen, and so forth. So are we trying to solve that problem as well at the same time?
Yeah, so I always think of it as like there's multiple modes of BI, right? So originally it was the report, and the report, you get the report and you'd have to go and ask somebody why something was going on. So you'd see the number, and then maybe somebody in IT would go off and build another report that would answer that question. And months later, you might get the answer. And we kind of freed ourselves from part of that with data discovery and with this emergence of self-service tools. Mm-hmm. But the problem continues to be that you still need a lot of skills to use data discovery. And people don't even know where the information is, where the tools are. They don't have the ability to get to the answers they need still. And so with augmented analytics, as you say, we can bring in machine learning and AI and techniques that involve like natural language processing. So even somebody looking at a report can ask a follow-up question in the kind of language we're using right now, and get an answer. So why is my employee churn up, right? Yep. Why is it 10%? And the system should be able to tell you what countries that's happening in, what job profiles, and what time period it's happened in, so that you can understand what the next kind of question you want to get. And it has an amazing ability to make data sticky. People get curious when they feel like they have access to that kind of thing, and it's easy, which is part of where it becomes fun.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, next question. The present, where do you see the market at the moment in terms of augmented BI? And are organizations embracing the augmented BI space? Well, you've got a global mandate, right? So do you look at different countries and different industries? How do you see them separately? So is retail different to a telco industry, and is it different to financial services, and is it different to the public sector? What is the take about how are they embracing it the way they're embracing augmented BI?
I understand why you're asking, because every sector has their own needs and their own way of adopting technology, right? Absolutely. It makes perfect sense. And regionally too, right? North America, Asia Pacific, EMEA, all have their own patterns of how different trends will emerge. Mm-hmm. But what I'm seeing in this space, in the augmented BI space, is the patterns don't really follow those lines. what I am seeing is that whether there are people in the retail industry, whether they're in the oil and gas industry, whether they're in the financial sector, insurance, we're seeing really cool use cases come out of all those industries, and globally. But the thing that I am seeing the pattern on is that there are really kind of 2 or 3 different kinds of companies, and the ones that are really embracing augmented BI, they are deliberately trying to be radical, right? They see the opportunity. And I have a lot of conversations where I feel like there's so much potential and customers are still focused on creating that report, right? And they're doing things the way they always have. It's like if you order an omelet and then the next person who sits beside you, brings in something that's these beautiful fluffy pancakes with, whipped cream on top and strawberries, and you had no idea the kitchen could do that. You're like, well, I should have asked for that. I'm going to ask for that next time. But people don't know that they can order the pancakes, right? Yeah. They're still expecting the basic white, only egg white omelet. And so many of the customers I'm talking to haven't quite figured out what is possible. And I think they're also, it's also their users, right? The users in the business, whether that be in the line of finance or whether that be in marketing or HR, they are also expecting a report. And so I think there needs to be a little bit of risk taking and a little bit of really going back to the original problem, because your goal is never a report. Your goal is, a business problem. Your goal is optimizing something or understanding something, or, and for me, I don't monitor my metrics. I'm trying to improve my development efficiency. And if we focus on the core problems, then I am seeing, some really cool companies. And again, they're across industry that they are going to take us all out if we're not careful and we're not all, trying to understand the opportunities we could have by leveraging the technology. Yeah.
Sure. And that's good. So, and any industry embracing it more than the other industry, you see that, or is it organization by organization, as you said?
It is more organization by organization. We are seeing quite a bit in the HR in the line of HR, partly because we're partnering with SuccessFactors. But that is across industries. Everybody has HR, right? And that is really what's interesting. I am seeing a lot of that in North America, but we also have some really compelling use cases in Australia, in China, and certainly a ton in Europe. So I really think it isn't limited by industry. I must say though that there is there is some of the public sector is let's say. I'm seeing it less in the public sector at this point. Most of the use cases I'm seeing are in the private sector. I think there's a huge opportunity for us to do some partnerships, right? Because I think we all would love, governments and some of the education systems to be able to run better for our kids. So I'm hoping that's just a matter of time.
Yep. Okay. Now you meet a lot of C-level folks across the globe. Any funny incident that you've had talking to them about augmented BI and they had taken it somewhere else, and or the discussion just went where you didn't think it to be?
I'm still waiting for the moment where I'm sitting with a customer and the insights we find are something like, we find that, some department head is running up all their expenses at like a gentleman's club or something that is really inappropriate. It hasn't happened yet. But I think the funny stories are usually, the discussions I have are usually all when people have gone past, they want to get into the technology, but then everything is magic, right? And there's this challenge we have where reality is somewhere in the middle. And so one with a CEO in sort of military space, and evidently his expectations were that we would tell him the future with perfect accuracy, make him coffee and drive him to work, right? And there was a point at which we certainly were never going to be able to meet his expectations, and then unfortunately I had to we had to find ourselves a level playing ground there. But the good news is that as long as we can go back to what people have today, what we can give them is so much value on top. So
Yep.
typically it's been a really positive, even if unfortunately I have not found any augmented analytics that makes coffee or drives you to work yet. But one of these days. Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned challenges. So what are the challenges do you see for organizations to embrace augmented BI? Are there any challenges in are these challenges in the IT space or in the BI space? And do you think it's going to be embraced sooner than later because the world is moving very, very quickly?
I mean, I think it's inevitable, right? And I think just like any adoption curve, you are going to have, early adopters, and I think in the next 3 years we're going to start to see that movement happen. I think the two things I would see, and they remain a challenge for any kind of data and analytics project. It's not just augmented analytics. I actually think that helps make it better. Is first of all data, right? The cost of and the energy required to really get the data and make it trustable, make it ensure that you have the right data, make it relevant and timely. That is always expensive and underestimated. People will again think of that report, that dashboard, that end result, and not think of what's underneath. And so really making sure you invest in that is definitely a challenge I see for companies, especially because now the data problems have become so much worse than they ever were, right? Yep. It's everywhere, it's volume, it's variety. The other piece is data literacy. And I spending a ton of time with customers, you sit down and you look at some of the dashboards. I mean, I'd love to hear if people have these problems. But you look at some of the things people are making decisions on and you start getting worried, right? At least at me as a data professional, when people have a dashboard full of averages, I'm sitting there thinking, oh gosh, I hope there's more than two numbers behind that average. I hope there's distribution, and I hope there's sound understanding of information behind those numbers. And that's where I think augmented helps, because augmented actually can explain how the number works and not just what you're literally looking at, but also kind of create some guardrails. Did you know that behind this number, there's actually, only 2 employees? So an average salary is probably not a good idea. But yeah, I'm curious, are there challenges that our audience is seeing? I would love to hear more about their challenges and see if that resonates with them as well. Yeah.
So to the audience, if you want to share your challenges, please send them in the comment section. Okay. Where is all of this going? Where do you think we're going to land with this? Of course, the future is really, really open. There are lots of new things coming up. Machine learning is taking the world by a storm.
Oh, yeah.
Where is it all going?
Where I would like it to go, and where I believe it's going to go, is so that we.
Where would you like it to go?
First. Yeah, I know. Well, it's we all are dreamers, right? I mean, as much as I have, predictive analytics technology at my fingertips, what I believe will happen is that a lot of things are going to become automated, right? And that includes in the field I'm working in. And I think, I regularly will look at the same dashboards and the same metrics, on a daily basis, ensuring that things are in the direction I want them to go. That's manual work. And then when things aren't right, I look into why. And more, some of that is the technology is helping me with that, with our techniques of augmented. But, what I would like it to do is I would like to be automatically told what I need to do about it on the way to work. Instead of me going into a meeting every week with my staff, I want to be told that something is outside of the threshold. This is why. This is the action you should take. And so rather than spending any of the time on the low effort let's say the low value part of the information problems, I believe all of us should be able to be spending our time on the hard problems, really actually analyzing and being able to impact the business. The spreadsheet, and you send it around and you understand the data is correct, and then you have the information, you don't have the time to actually go to that next level of detail. And I think that's where the technology will free us from that. And so that's my hope.
That's your hope. Good stuff. You just mentioned about the fact that there is an issue with the in the challenge space that people are still not there because they're focusing on getting the reports, but it's all about the outcomes. One thing that comes to mind for me is nothing succeeds like success. You've got a couple of success stories in the organization, and then suddenly you've just taken that to a different direction, and everyone wants to use your skill set and stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
Future, you said it's hope. You hope that everything will be automated as you go forward, and things will be. So, what will happen to those jobs? Which question? This question comes up every time I'm talking to people.
Yeah, it does.
So, do people have to learn something else or learn more? At least in the SAP space as well, because there are lots of SAP folks who are also working on BI for God knows how many years.
Well, I mean, concretely in the BI space, I do think we are going to find some things become automated, but that allows us to spend the time on the other part of the problem. So I think there's never going to be a shortage for data analysis, right? I mean, data scientists are, part of that, but that's only a piece of that, and that's definitely not going away. But instead of looking at these, which are the top 5 employees, like instead we're going to understand really the correlated differences, and we're going to have the analysts looking at the higher value problems. But I also think that as the world has changed, we used to be afraid of what's going to happen when the car replaced the horse and all the jobs that were going to be gone. New jobs are emerging no matter what era of technology things are changing in. And I also get this question all the time. And so I do not believe that we are going to see a quick impact on this. I also think that what we are more likely to see over time is there are going to be more professionals that are working in the data and analytics space, because it is becoming so critical to drive business and the world forward, right? We really need to understand what's going on in order to solve problems. And so more than anything, I think we are actually going to have the tools required, and then we're going to need to have humans actually making those decisions, because these aren't simple problems we're dealing with anymore.
Okay. Exciting use case that you've seen.
Oh, yeah, I do have go ahead. Sorry.
Go on.
Yeah.
Any exciting use case that you've seen in the last few months, weeks, which you thought amazing?
The one that I like, because we were just talking about the world changing, is AG Real Estate. So we have a customer we're working with. They're based in Belgium, but they have commercial and non-commercial real estate in Europe and in North America. And a lot of that involves retail and involves brick and mortar. And so they were looking at what they're going to do about the mall real estate they own. And I think we all know right now, competing with e-commerce is a real challenge. And that's one of the things that technology is creating this change on. And so what they wanted to do was leverage augmented analytics combined with the data they have from their ERP systems and their sales systems, as well as the data from their cameras, everything that's going on in the shopping center, to be able to sort of predict if they're unlikely to have a good selling day because the weather is bad, then they can put on an extra event to draw people into the center. And on the flip side, if they're going to have a high volume day, then what they'll do is they'll sell extra booths. So it not only allows them to bring more humans into the shopping malls, but it also helps them retain their retailers, because they can demonstrate that they can affect the traffic, and they can basically really understand the patterns that they're seeing inside their shopping centers, ultimately to sell us more, to bring us deeper into that mall and compete with e-commerce. And so they were using a combination of like prediction and forecasting. And, when I talked to Roger, like for him, he's just getting started, right? Like, as you said, he's seen that value, and it's almost like, a chocolate addiction or something. It was so sweet, he's going to have more. And I'm really excited to see what they do next.
One of my ex-boss used to call me a drug dealer.
Oh, okay.
He used to say, you go in, you put them on drugs, and then they want more and more. And I don't know how you do that. But anyways, that's another aspect of it. Okay.
I think are you saying that I'm the drug dealer in this scenario? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, you're the drug dealer. Yes, absolutely. You're putting them on drugs, and then, they talking about SAP products. Let's just quickly name a few which actually bring it all together to an augmented BI space. What are the key products that you're bringing in? And I shouldn't have been saying that, but I couldn't resist because
Okay.
lots of people would be thinking, oh, they're talking about all of these things, but I may have that product myself. Should I not be utilizing it? Because we know
Yeah.
how organizations sign up to all these things, not knowing that they've already got the technology with them, but they're not using it. So what kind of
For sure.
products do you bring it all together?
I mean, the core place where we're working with augmented analytics is SAP Analytics Cloud. That's our flagship analytics product. It's cloud first, and it's part of our HANA Cloud Services, SAP HANA Cloud Services. And I say that because, with SAP HANA Cloud Services, we combine the power of in-memory with HANA Cloud, as well as real-time data warehousing with SAP Data Warehouse Cloud. And the challenge, because analytics really depends on data, we've basically put a suite together to ensure that customers can be successful. The good news, though, is that a lot of our customers already have S4, they already have SuccessFactors. We are bringing SAP Analytics Cloud to those applications basically right now. This is happening in end of 2019 and early 2020. We're doing the rollouts, as well as the rest of our suite of applications. And so a subset of the capabilities available in SAP Analytics Cloud, including some of the augmented features, will be available, and they may, as you say, be able to take advantage of some of that technology now.
Okay, we've got not much time left, so let's take audience questions. There are quite a few.
Ooh, good.
Okay, let's go with this. The first one is from Navid Usmani. He says, for a business object consultant, what you suggest to learn as automation is going across SAP product?
What do you suggest to learn as a business objects consultant? Well, I should say that, we are bringing Business Objects 4.3 to the market this year. It's already in beta, and that works directly with SAP Analytics Cloud. So depending on what your customers are interested in, I would highly continue your journey with Business Objects. I would also suggest you check out SAP Analytics Cloud. Right now, we are just finished internally in development, and it's available. It'll be publicly available very soon. Our conversational AI will allow you to work via SAP Analytics Cloud and access the data that's in your universes today. So, for your customers that you're working with, you'll be able to ask those questions. You'll literally be able to say, what is my revenue last quarter on top of the business objects universes that their customers have been working with for a long time. And so I highly suggest you get involved with SAP Analytics Cloud.
Brilliant. Let me just quickly get there was another question which was very interesting. The only thing is I've lost it on my, okay, here we go. What is the difference between, this is Dino Pesella, he's from Australia only, so someone from down under. What's the main difference between solving problems with augmented analytics compared to the standard traditional methods which have been used for years?
Yeah, great question. So what I usually say is a lot of the high-level problems are the same. You're monitoring, you're analyzing, and you are still able to do analysis manually with the standard products. The difference that we see with augmented analytics is, let's say if you're looking at a chart in a standard self-service tool, and you're trying to understand the distribution of revenue by country, and you're seeing, okay, Canada is super low. Why? Then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go in and you're going to have to look by all the different aspects. Is it the sales leader? Is it what is happening with the product lines? You don't know why, and you're manually sifting through that. With augmented, for example, the system should be able to tell you exactly what is driving that decrease or what is driving that particular number. So that's an analysis use case. Similar with monitoring. So instead of manually going in and every morning looking at a particular number, the goal and the vision is that the system will alert you when something relevant has changed. And we're already starting to see that. So if you go in with SAP Analytics Cloud and you're looking at data, one of the things that we will automatically highlight to you is how things have changed over time and what the it's not that you can't necessarily do some of those workflows, but you may not be able to access some of the possible insights and the information that is there. And it might be a lot of work. I would say the third thing is that classically, our business analysts working with business intelligence don't have access to predictive analytics techniques. either because of lack of skills or also lack of tooling. And so we put them right into the Augmented Analytics suite. So for example, you can understand what's driving a particular metric. So if you're looking at margin, what's driving our current margin? And what we find is that a lot of the time it's not one thing, and it's not even two things and how they interact. Because when two things interact, I as a human probably can find it. When it's four things that have to come together to have an impact, really hard for us as humans to really see that pattern. And so those are some of the things that the augmented analytics can bring you. So powerful insights, speed of getting to the result, and I would also say access. So it still is there still is a skill gap. There still is a need to be have training in order to use our analysis tools, unfortunately. But with some of the conversational techniques you'll see in augmented tools these days, you can just ask a question and it will give you an answer. And you can, of course, ask follow-up questions, and you can understand what that answer is relevant to your question. It's not that it's not trustable, but it does allow more people to understand information and understand what's going on. And all those are really more available in the new methods.
Okay. Navid Usmani, who asked that question about the training on business objects, said he's on the right track. So good.
Glad to hear it. We have a great, by the way, we have a great webinar happening right now on SAP Analytics Cloud. It's a series, so go check it out. It's also available if you follow my LinkedIn. You'll see the publishing of it from a couple of weeks ago.
Perfect. Pankaj Bansal has asked this question. In the SAP Analytics roadmap, what are the different tools which can come under Augmented Analytics? Means where it gets fit best in the SAP Analytics roadmap. Also, when you spoke about Augmented Analytics, is that related to SAP Bot, RPA?
Great question. So as far as the SAP Analytics roadmap, the investments that we're doing in Augmented Analytics are centered in SAP Analytics Cloud. So that's both our business intelligence offering as well as our planning offering, which are both different license types and sort of use cases available with SAP Analytics Cloud, but we are enhancing all of them with intelligence. And it's really intelligence in planning and intelligence in analysis and reporting and monitoring. As far as RPA goes, that is a separate tool, but both are available as part of Cloud Platform, SAP Cloud Platform, and both are integrated in with our other applications. As I understand, you can work within S4, for example. Of course, you can work with analytics and you can work with RPA. So they're not necessarily tightly integrated with each other, but they are both tools that also can extend some of the other solutions with the SAP portfolio.
Perfect. Okay, there is one last question, and I will very quickly call it out. It was from Rahul Paul, and he said, what are the main skills right now to get a job in data science? And I'm not sure whether you want to take that question.
It's a tough question for me. I will be full disclosure here. I am not a data scientist. I have a math degree from many, many years ago, and I am underqualified as a data scientist. But I can tell you that there are a lot of good assets out there. One of the things that we are looking to do with Augmented Analytics is bring some of the data science value to more people. But there is so much work out there for data scientists. What we aim to do is to take the easy problems and give access to them to more people, and let our data scientist community really solve the challenging problems that involve their skills. And so I wish you luck, but I don't know that I'm the best one to give you that advice.
I can take that question later. I'll do one. Anyways, thank you very much, Kate. It was a pleasure having you on the show, and just love you being there.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. Thanks, everybody, for joining.
Thank you, and I'll speak to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, that was Kate Wright, and we had some very, very interesting questions for her. Thank you all for joining us, and I'll be back next week with another SSC leader, and I'll ask you to put your questions in the comment box, and we can take those questions directly with the leaders themselves. So there are 3 leaders to come. 3 leaders in all, 2 more to come, and that will be coming. That'll be in the coming weeks. So thank you very much for being here. Bye now.